See that mansion up on the hill? That is one of the largest and finest examples of Queen Anne architecture in all of Canada. If you were the inventor of the telephone, you'd have a pretty large and fine house too. This is the home of Alexander Graham Bell. Bell named his home Bemvrea, Gaelic for beautiful mountain. Bell lived here until his death in 1922. Look at it. Today, the house is kept very much alive by his many descendants, one of which is great-grandson Gardner Grosvenor. What year was the house built?
The house was built over a 2-year period, 1892 and 93.
Like Earnscliffe, the home still falls into the Victorian era. Only this one is a shingle-style building built in the Queen Anne style. Its distinguishing features are its large wraparound porch, the towers, and L-shaped asymmetry. You would have had to have been upper middle class to afford a home like this.
It cost a little under $25,000.
I'm sorry, come again?
Well, in those days, 50 cents a day was a pretty good wage. It was built using mostly local material.
But a house like this needs a lot of upkeep.
We've been doing quite a bit of work on it. We started about 5-6 years ago repairing plaster and paint and a little bit of woodwork.
Bell's descendants are very private and don't generally open up this house to the public. Gardner was gracious enough to show me a few of the rooms.
This, Tommy, is the dining room.
It's huge.
Well, we still make great use of the dining room. We throw family parties here, and the table was purchased in 1894 for $129.
$129 was a lot of money in 1894.
Yes.
That would be around $4,000 today. How many does it seat, roughly?
Well, we've had 30 probably in here at one point.
And they had a unique way of calling their guests to the table. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
The design use of this is to call the faithful to prayer.
But it was this DIY project that really caught my attention.
That was a project of Mrs. Bell and her 2 daughters. They collected the snail shells and they strung them. I think they did a beautiful job.
Amazing. You don't think about these very wealthy women doing a do-it-yourself embellishment to their own home.
When we have a big party, this becomes the children's table. And in this family, I've been in my late teens and still assigned to the children's table. The family was that large.
Let's go down here.
This, Tommy, is the library.
It was here that Alexander Graham Bell worked and held meetings with the National Geographic Society, of which he was the president.
Maps that were published by the National Geographic.
Come on. I want one of these.
If you can look up here, we have some weapons, and the story on that is that they had an explorer visiting them. They were somewhat cumbersome in his baggage, so he left them here temporarily.
And he never came back.
But he never came back, so we still have them.
One other thing Gardner has is Alexander Graham Bell's original guest book.
I found the record of the occupants of Elsie's room, it says, from 1901. And several people are here, but we see in print Helen Keller. They were here in the last 2 weeks of August that year.
That is absolutely spectacular. Fantastic. Gardner wanted to show me Bell's favorite spot in the house. Whoa.
The balcony has changed a little bit over the years, but the view is pretty much the same, and it's somewhat grand.
You stand here on this point, so it's almost 180 degrees of spectacular scenery.
Yes, it's quite a view.
And I just want to thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to come here and see this magnificent property. Thank you for that.
Well, it was
thank
a
you
pleasure
so much.
having you.
It was a pleasure to be here.
My great-grandfather loved this place, and it's a pleasure sharing it with the people of Canada.